The Stolen Queen. It's fresh off the press in 2025. And let me tell you, if you're ready for some unapologetic female empowerment shoved down your throat, then this book is ready to serve it up. I mean, if you think about it, it does make a change, doesn't it? Normally it's male empowerment that's shoved down your throat. So where was I? Right, The Stolen Queen is a story drenched in girl power. The main characters, fierce, clever, and on a mission to uncover the legacy of a female pharaoh. Because yes, women ruled ancient Egypt too. This book has it all. Women kicking butt, foiling plans, and dropping the oh-so-repeated line, women had more rights 3,000 years ago than they do today. Sure, it's a bold claim, and maybe a touch clickbaity, because it's not really true. But it's an intriguing lens to view history though. If you're up for a fast-paced female-forward adventure, The Stolen Queen might just be your next read. So, what did you think about it, and would you recommend it?
It seemed like a feminist read to me, as you were saying.
Did you like it?
I like
Pause this video right now. Go and read The Stolen Queen by
Fiona Davis. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Actual Library.
So did you enjoy reading it?
I enjoyed parts of it. I wouldn't say I enjoyed the book. I would say I enjoyed parts of it.
I think, on the whole, I think I enjoyed it more than a lot of the books we've read over the past.
Okay, that's a different question. But
6 months or so.
Yeah, that's a different question.
Because I would rather read this again than a lot of other books if I had to. I think the
Like
first half of it,
like the husbands.
the first half of it, I think was a drag. But then I think the second half was much better than the first half.
Well, the second half had like globetrotting and stuff in there, innit? So it's like it's hard to mess it up. Well, I say that, but we've had globetrotting books where they messed it up. I don't remember. We Solve Murders? That had globetrotting in it.
Was it?
We Solve Murders.
Globetrotting? I don't remember that.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong book.
Maybe doesn't matter. My first question is, who do you think the target audience of this book is? Like, what ages? Because I'll just, if not for the female empowerment aspect, which, if I'm honest, isn't really that in your face, then I probably would have said this book is actually for a quite young audience. I'm thinking early teens. But my next question is, where do you stand with the argument that Egyptian artifacts belong to Egyptian people? Because that was the underlying tone of the book. You know, these Westerners coming over here with their archaeologists, uncovering treasures and stealing them for their museums. What do you personally think about that?
Well, as British people, finders keepers. But in all seriousness, though, wasn't the Egyptian government selling this stuff to them? It was like taking half of the proceeds or whatever, and like deciding.
But
like,
that's not necessarily my question, though. Because a lot of, what do they say about the British Museum? All of that shit stolen. That's what they say. That's what they say.
All of it.
So what do you think about that? Because the British people would say, well, you lot can't even afford to have air-conditioned museums. You can't even afford to preserve your shit. You had it buried in the ground.
Yeah.
So what do you say about that?
Well, it's tough to say someone's artifacts don't belong to them. Don't belong to their own people. Don't belong in their own country.
I'm trying to bait you into saying.
Listen, it's tough to say. It's tough to say that, especially if you're not from there. You know, to say they don't deserve to have their own shit. It's kind of, do you know what I mean? Now we're sounding a bit, British Empire.
I think, I know you didn't ask me, but I'm going to tell you what I think.
As always.
I personally don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think there's a sensible answer that can hold up to some scrutiny, and then there's a stupid answer. If we take into account that the Egyptian people of today aren't actually the descendants of ancient Egyptians, for one, the reason why I know this is because when I was inside the pyramids in Egypt, the tour guide kept saying things like, when we opened the tomb, we found, and this confused me. I was thinking, what do you mean when you opened it? You are of the people. Surely you should you should know what's inside there. It's like you opening your wallet and saying,
yeah,
it's 50 quid in it.
Never found a tenner in your jeans. Not know where it came from.
And two, let me ask you a hypothetical question. If you found that your ancestor of 3,000 years ago owed £1, and due to inflation, the balance now amounted to £10,000, are you paying their debts? Of course not. So why should you be entitled to their treasures?
Because if I see something, it's the people living there in the country.
If you find it, I think maybe there's an argument to say finders keepers. But you can't then say, oh, that was in my country, that belongs to me.
I mean, that's how everyone works, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's not how they work. I'm just saying I don't think it makes sense because if you had a debt to pay, you're not paying the debt. So how are you taking the treasure? Because it's your right, but you're not taking the debt. The debt should be yours too.
Maybe it is. But what's interesting is the people who live in Egypt now, if it doesn't belong to them, it definitely don't belong to us.
I'm not saying no.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So they may be saying that based on proximity.
No. I agree. It definitely don't belong to us, but it don't belong to them.
So
I think it should
that's
just
the
be
idea
shared.
that you're saying held up to scrutiny somewhat.
I don't know if it can be a thing that's bought or sold or whatnot. Because it doesn't make sense. Who's getting the proceeds of this?
Who are you paying for it?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Well, you know, in the book, the Egyptian government was like, we'll take this. You don't have the shit stuff to take back to. They was even annoyed at that.
But yeah, I enjoyed the story. It's always nice to be taken on a journey when reading a plot-driven book. I felt like a passenger princess just going along for the ride. I don't know if I could recommend it as something special, but if you want to read something that's hot off the press, that's just been released, because it came out this year, 5th of January.
Yeah.
You won't regret reading, because, I mean, do you regret reading it?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't like a bit of Egyptology? I mean, there could have been more, to be honest. Did this Egypt bait us?
You just invent a new word. It's funny that you should say it did this Egypt bait us as well, because it wasn't really a conversation. It was more of a throwaway question that one of the characters made when he said, why is there a field of Egyptology but there's no Romology and there's no Greekology?
Yeah, because, I know why that is. I think because Egyptology, there's just so much more. I mean, there's 5,000
Well, that's
or
what he
more.
said.
I think it's more than 5,000.
That's what he said. He said Rome lasted like 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said Egypt lasted like...
It's more than 5,000 years. So, yeah, it's a whole topic. But yeah, so honestly, there was so very little information regarding Egypt. I actually wanted and expected to learn something in that field, and it's unfortunate that I'm unsatisfied. How do you cheer up somebody after they're left unsatisfied? Surely you know.
Listen, I'm going to get mine. I hope you get yours.
But yes, spoilers, guys. I'm about to ruin the whole thing. The reason why I say this has to be a kid's book is because everything is too happy-clappy. Even the ending was wrapped up into a neat bow. The terrorist group foiled, Artwork's recovered, Annie gets her job back, Henry's alive, and Charlotte's tracked down her long-lost daughter as well.
They all had a group hug. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's got kids' book written all over it. There was nothing. I want give me some sadness.
Remember when I said earlier, and they all lived happily ever after? That book.
You was not joking.
It was literally that book. There was zero jeopardy or damage done to anyone.
Yeah.
Surprise!
How many points do you have?
7.
Oh, okay.
How many do you have?
I've got 4, but as I said, mine are 5 actually.
But yours are a bit conversational.
Yeah, but it's right. You know, we'll just run with it.
Surprise! Charlotte Cross is a whore. An Egyptologist who travelled in search of buried tombs in the wake of Howard Carter's discovery of the tomb of King Tut. Our main character, Charlotte Cross, ponders on how life as a woman in ancient Egypt was better than life as a woman from New York in the 1930s. If a woman divorced or her husband died in ancient Egypt, she would be entitled to a third of what he owned. Having a child out of wedlock wasn't frowned upon, nor were sexual encounters between unmarried people. Who's to say if the author meant to do this, but what does it say about Charlotte? That her primary complaints about the Western world are, I can't take money from men, I can't get laid on a weekend, I can't have as many bastard children as I like. I thought that was a really weird, it's not weird, it's normal, you know, for people to think that sort of thing.
This book, actually you made a good point, because this book was written back then, but it's written for now. So, you know, we didn't have Charlotte victimized or not even shamed, should I say, for her opinions or anything like that. Because it wasn't... When I was reading the book, I forgot that it was 1930s for a moment. Yeah. Because when I said that it was clickbaity, because they had more rights 3,000 years ago. I think now women have more rights than they ever had. But obviously, you know, in the 1800s, 3,000 years ago, they had more rights than they did in the 1800s, which is... you know, we've read books which kind of outline that, which is interesting.
I thought it was interesting, though, because even she said, spoiler alert, when she was even pregnant, she said she felt like she kind of resented it because she felt like one of King Ramses' concubines carrying the heir to the throne or whatever. And I was just like, isn't this the freedom you was talking about earlier? What the hell?
I'm not going to lie, I'm enjoying the book, but I don't understand the emphasis on this fashion show. I get that's how we introduced the special ancient Egyptian piece known as the broad collar, but why are we spending what feels like for an eternity on the fashion show? I know it's going to come and go and have no real long-lasting significance. The author knows that we are all just marking time waiting for Charlotte to go to Egypt. She's got unfinished business there, i.e. find her long-lost husband and child and research for her groundbreaking project. We know she's got to go to Egypt at some point, so just hurry up and get on with it. What's with the needless dwelling of the fashion show?
Or that gala. That gala at the Met.
Yeah. It turns out that there was some significance with the gala. But I'm going to take a leaf out of my girlfriend's book and refuse to admit where I'm wrong. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to start gaslighting. Maybe crying.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was some relevance. The meeting of characters, Charlotte and Annie met up there, and Annie's potential boyfriend, who she got into trouble, which is important because it's the reason why Annie tagged along to Egypt with Charlotte, because she wanted to try and clear his name. Without that, it would have been like, well, why is she going along? You know, that she gave her a reason. And of course, the artifact was stolen. So the gala was necessary, but my issue is they started planning it from the start of the book, and only halfway through the book is where it happens.
Yeah.
This all could have been done in a chapter or two, not half the bloody book. It seems like she needed to try and meet a word count or something.
Which has always been my long-standing complaint about some of these books. So I'm reading them, like, I saw the 11, 12 hours, 13 hours thing on Audible. Like,
I think, but also, what seemed to be carrying the book was the flashbacks to when Charlotte was younger as an archaeologist in Egypt.
Yeah,
it was the mystery of what happened to Henry, and more importantly, the baby. The idea, the curiosity was carrying the book, and that was the reason that was compelling us to continue reading. And we always moan about flashbacks and whatnot, and it's just not necessary. We don't need to mark time for the gala to let the flashbacks catch up. We could just not have the flashbacks.
We could just have the
We could
the
just
book
go
from
on
Egypt.
we can go on the journey.
Exactly.
We can go have the fashion show, have them steal it, and let's go to Egypt and let's retrace her steps and learn about her. Just got Annie, they can bounce off each other.
I wasn't even bloody talking about that. I said just have the 30s one in Egypt. Just have
the
story. You could even have done that.
You could have done that.
It's like you're playing Assassin's Creed. You're like, why am I doing this bit in the modern day?
It was Egypt baiting. Because they could have just had the one back in the day.
Bro, I would have
screwed the gala.
Exactly. Screw Annie. Screw everybody in that present day. It wasn't in the present day timeline. It was the 70s. But screw everyone in that timeline. I didn't care.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Just have the, because I was only looking forward to the 30s bits anyways. That was set in Egypt before. I was really only looking forward to those bits anyways, because like you said, the gala thing stretched on for so long.
Yeah, it was so unnecessary.
The marking time is a great way to put it, though. That's literally exactly what it is.
But if you're writing a book and you know your marking time, put some interesting shit in there.
Come on.
Take it out. I know you gotta have pacing. You can't have Transformers, as we said. Fight scene right the way through. I get
Infinity
it.
War.
But we can go globetrotting, as you call it. I've never heard that term before.
You never heard it?
Is it specific for books, or is it just traveling?
No, one can globetrot. One can actually run a world in 80 days. One can literally do that.
Yeah, globetrotting. That's always interesting.
Legit.
Unless it's the German daughter. Do you remember that?
Forgot about what Marius Gabriel forgot about that book.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
You don't get no points for that, though.
Of course not, but I don't get deducted points for that.
That's true.
Dual timelines, alternate perspectives, twice the bullshit, double the fun. We have POV Charlotte in the 1970s, associate curator at the Met Museum, and working on a revisionist piece about one of ancient Egypt's less glamorous pharaohs.
I just want to say, you can't say POV Charlotte and expect me to not smile. And I missed the rest of that. POV Charlotte? Well, why wouldn't I?
Sounds like,
why not?
Yeah, sounds like a spicy game. Charlotte believes that history is wrong about the infamous female pharaoh, and she's sort of determined to prove it. I say sort of because she was like, I'm determined to prove it. And the guy was like, here's some money, go to Egypt. She was like, no. So she's not really determined to prove it.
Sorry, why did the author decide to create a new female pharaoh, which she called Havatare?
Was it it's Hathakari.
Yeah, Hathakari.
She could use Hatshepsut.
There's
right bloody there.
There's 9 female
there?
pharaohs.
That's the only one
she
I
could
know
have just
about.
used any one of them
Nefertiti.
and taught us something about
100%.
them. You don't need to create a new one.
I didn't know that was fictional. I just thought that was one of them.
I'm definitely not an Egyptologist, but I thought I've never heard of this one before. So I had to Google it. I'm interested in that sort of thing, and it was just like, well, that's not a thing.
Damn. Yeah, she definitely.
There was no need for that.
Yeah, she reinvented the wheel for no reason.
For no reason, and then told us it's Egyptology.
But that's a crazy thing as well, because she missed another trick where if you make a book about Egypt, remember we read Nero, that name Nero. Oh, I've heard that name. Yeah. Interesting. Bang, go.
I bought the book because of
exactly.
That.
You have a book, Nefertiti on the front. Yeah. Bang, go. I've heard of that.
Queen.
Do you see what I'm saying? So she definitely missed the trick to boost up.
Joseph, you could have just dropped Cleopatra in there.
Are you mad?
God, that's only the most. That's the baitest name of all time.
Yeah, no, legit.
If I have a child, I'm gonna call it Cleopatra.
Bang. I mean, outside like Jesus, super galactic ones.
Yeah.
Cleopatra's definitely up there. Caesar,
I'll write that down now. That's a banging kid's name.
What, Cleopatra?
I mean,
Cleo.
I don't know if it's that good, but it is good.
A lot to live up to, though.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we also have flashback Charlotte Cross in the 1930s, a budding Egyptologist on the cusp of discovering something incredible beneath the sands of the Valley of the Kings. And finally, we have Annie, also from the 1970s, who will probably end up being Charlotte's long-lost Egyptian bastard love child, knowing these stories.
Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was thinking, wait, how did you guess that?
Exactly, but I was off.
So
But
you was kind of right.
I was in the right ballpark.
Yeah.
I was in the right stadium playing the wrong sport.
Yeah, that's literally it. The characters in this book are good, strong characters. I think the author's done a very good job. Charlotte, Annie, Annie's mum, and Mrs. H were very good characters. We have Charlotte, feel free to jump in as I said. We have Charlotte, who is a damaged woman, damaged from the loss of her newborn baby and her husband, which happened 40 years ago. I mean, I have a problem with that. But so immediately we feel sorry for her and we automatically like her as the main character. And then she becomes morally complicated because she ultimately selfishly breaks up her current boyfriend to go and search for her long lost husband. Bearing in mind, this wasn't just some little boyfriend. They were together for a considerable amount of time, to the point that the boyfriend even wanted to propose, which Charlotte refused. So one, we were robbed off that scene because I don't know if you remember, he didn't actually get to ask her. I think she kind of snuffed him out and said, listen, if you're going to propose, don't.
That's big. Just go gym, bro.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If she don't want to marry you, there's something wrong with you. It's simple as that. As in, you're not enough. It automatically makes you the bad guy as a woman when you say no. So that already taints her character, which, was very good. Especially the fact that the reason why she's saying no is because she wants to go find her ex.
Yeah.
So that's terrible.
Damage.
She's been stringing him along this whole time. So yes, she's definitely selfish and she's the bad guy. But is she not entitled to do so?
Yeah, no, of course it is. And that's really a moral dilemma. In fact, I heard an interesting question. Well, it wasn't really a question. It was a statement made by some woman on Reddit. She said, men shouldn't propose in public. And the reason they shouldn't propose in public is because it's more pressure on a woman to say yes when she may not want to.
That's why you should.
Yeah. I assume that's why men have been doing that. Well, I assume they've been thinking about the romantic aspect of it. The romantic aspect of it, they want the whole restaurant applauding, whatever. Say yes, honey, sort of thing. But it's like from the woman's perspective, deer in headlights.
Yeah. No.
What do you do if let's say a restaurant?
I think this is an easy question.
Let's say a restaurant, but let's say a restaurant with a girl. She gets down on one knee. Elijah, I want you to marry me. What do you do?
No, that's not acceptable.
Tend to get up.
No, I didn't think you. When you started asking the question, you could have given me 10 guesses. I never would have thought you was asking me that.
But I'm just saying, imagine in that position.
You'd have to just say yes. What? What?
It is close. Listen, our YouTube career is very young,
Yeah,
it's very young. You want to kill in its crib.
I was just thinking. I was looking at what's the problem. But I would have to. You'd have to just say yes, and you put it on.
And then after, take off. Like, you dumb bitch.
I didn't think about that. But no, I hope that never happens to me.
Yeah, it's a bit orcs.
The other main character was Annie, who was the late teen / young woman who had mummy issues. Annie has never had adequate love or attention from her mother, and she's usually the one that has to play the mother figure for her own mother. She pays the bill, she looks after her mum, and has to put up with the fact that her mother goes through more men than Bonnie Blue. Yes, I stole that from you last week. But the last week video hasn't been released yet. So people are going to think this one is the first week, and you copied me. And I'm going to cut that out in post-production.
Incredible backdating. Incredible revisionism. No one's ever going to believe me as well.
Why would they?
Videos have dates in them for a reason,
Exactly. They're going to be like, yeah, shut up.
Oh, God.
But yes, we saw Annie's mummy issues take centre stage when she met Charlotte and clung on to her to the point that she stalked her, followed her, and stuck on the plane to follow her to the other side of the world. But yes, it's just good character building. We had Annie's mum. I thought she was morally great until the author went all the way and had Annie's mum kick Annie out. Because her boyfriend was moving in.
Yeah,
Worst mother
crazy.
of the year.
Of all time.
She was like, oh, by the way, Brad's moving in.
That's insane.
And he was like, well, where am I staying? The mum said, I thought you would be happy that you get to move out and be free.
No, that's crazy.
She didn't even tell her.
It's crazy.
Get your things. He's coming. He's here now.
I'm dead. Dum, dum, dum. This is get out of Brad's room, man.
Can you imagine?
I'm slide tackling out.
So the reason why I thought Annie's mum was only morally grey in the beginning is because she seemed like she had some form of daddy issues herself that she was a victim of. She genuinely wasn't intentionally promiscuous. She badly wanted to find a man that wants her, and she seemed to only pick men that only wanted a bit of fun. So that's why I thought she was morally grey. But as she's getting older, she's rushing to find a man while she still can. So I was feeling sorry for her. Well, I did. But when you're trying to move your boyfriend in while trying to force your daughter to vacate the property, coupled with the fact that the boyfriend has no idea she had a daughter in the first place.
Yeah, that's mad.
Yeah, you're not morally great. You're the bad guy. This pushes us towards liking Annie even more, and obviously demonizing the mother. So we had Mrs. H, the old lady, neighbor landlord, that actually played the role of Annie's grandmother. She was there for her every time she needed her, which was quite heartfelt. Mrs. H knew that Annie's mother was trash and kind of stepped up to the plate to look after Annie. Mrs. H was a widow herself, and one of the interesting things is that she would actually still speak of her husband like he was alive. She wouldn't say, my husband liked to go to the cafe. She'd say, my husband and I like to go to the cafe. And I thought maybe the author could have kept us in the dark about the death of the husband, and then through a character building scene just revealed that. That would have been like, he's dead, you know. And then we had Diana, who was Annie's boss, who was basically a rip-off of the boss from Devil Wears Prada. You watched that film?
Yeah,
I didn't think you'd have watched that. I think Veronica was Annie. I could be wrong.
I don't remember anyone's name from that movie. I just remember Meryl Streep, and she was cooking. She was the boss, and she'd send her out and make her do all kinds of stuff.
So yeah, that's who the Annie's boss kind of seemed like to me. But the characters in this book, I thought she done a very good job.
That's fair, to be honest.
She could have, with Charlotte's boyfriend, she could have made him have a character as well, because he could have been like, oh no, don't go to Egypt.
What, Mark? Was his name Mark?
Mike, I think it was.
Was it Mike? I thought it was Mark.
Could be Mark.
I read the PDF.
No, it is Mark. It is Mark, actually.
I was about to say.
Yeah, she could have had him saying, "Oh no, your life's here, everything's here. Please stay with me. I love you so much. You know, I'm pregnant." He could have said. He could have pulled out all the works.
No, I'm dead.
But
it's 2025. Man. I mean, it wasn't 2070s.
Yeah,
but,
that's true. Yeah. So yeah, I think the characters were quite strong, but you're not convinced. Am I reading too much into it?
No. This is one time I'll let you off. There was a couple of good characters. I was really, especially early on in the book, I thought Henry was an interesting character as well, and I was more drawn into the 30s aspect of it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then obviously you would have Leon, who was like the dickhead in the office or whatever. Right, there was a makings of some,
because those characters played a second. They were subs. They were subs, so we didn't really get to experience. We did a bit, but none of them were the main characters.
They weren't part of the feminist aspect of the story either. Yeah, they weren't part of. Did you know that the ancient Egyptian mummifying process lasted 70 days?
Well, I did now.
During this process, embalmers would remove all moisture from the body, including the internal organs. A long, sharp tool would be inserted through the nostril and used to either pull brain tissue out piece by piece or even blend the brain into liquid where it could be poured out through the nose. Ancient Egyptians did this because they believed the brain was a useless organ. Some people say anyways. The corpse would be covered in salt and left to dry out, then wrapped in linen and finally placed inside a coffin. The absence of moisture is what preserves the bodies for thousands of years. Book was pretty mid at this point when I was writing this, but at least it's saying some interesting things about ancient Egypt, a civilization that lasted far too long for this book to be filled with merely nonsensical romance and witty dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, you expanded what they said, because all it said was mummification takes 70 days. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. So this is why it was at that point where I said maybe we're being Egypt baited, because there's, I expected to learn some stuff.
100%.
And obviously I've been in Egypt and I've learned some things, but I still, there should have been information in there that I could have said, oh yeah, I don't remember that.
100%. It's a golden opportunity. If you're going to write a book about historical fiction, it's a golden opportunity. Like, the whole point of historical fiction is so I can open my door and step into ancient Rome, step into ancient Egypt. I want to feel like
learn. That is the whole point of.
It's the whole point.
Historical fiction, honestly, to learn something.
What else is there?
Yeah, why
might as well be today if it's not going to be about the bloody.
Exactly. It literally didn't need to be about Egypt. It could have just been about someone who lost their kid.
Could be about Peckham. Like, would have been the same story.
Yeah,
literally the same story.
Literally. Finally, the Met Gala. The scene was action-packed. There was even espionage. Annie was told by her
Stealth
boss
mission.
to acquire some butterflies in a box which were to be released at the opportune moment for atmospheric effect. The art stealing vigilante group that we knew nothing about at this point, I'd like to point out, this Egyptian vigilante group switched Annie's butterflies with a replica box, but this box had moths. This obviously created pandemonium, with people trying to protect their fashion show garments from garment-eating insects. This gave the vigilante group the distraction they needed to steal a priceless Egyptian artifact called the Cerulean Queen. Annie bumped into the thief, where she and Charlotte engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the thief. But yeah, this whole scene was good and it was engaging. I especially liked the addition of the moths. It was almost like a plague that the Egyptians were said to have suffered from by the hand of God.
Yep.
I thought it was genius by the author. We disturbed ancient cursed tombs and unleashed a curse or whatever. So I did like that bit. And, the scene itself, at least, we waited half the book for it. At least it was decent. Do you know what I mean? It was something, and it kind of carried on the plot because, we found out about the vigilante group. They stole it, and then now we have to go to Egypt.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
We have to go globetrotting.
Yeah.
I found that bit quite funny though, because what do you do if that's your job? You're supposed to release butterflies, you release moths instead. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it was a terrible idea
Just
anyway.
suck
because
yourself.
You can't get them back in. I mean, even if it was butterflies, like, what was the plan?
Just let
and
them
then the
run
way
free.
the boss said when the police came, the boss was like, I didn't tell her to do that.
Yeah.
And it seemed like that was dodgy.
What, that she was getting thrown under the bus?
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. It didn't seem like she was honestly didn't want her to do that.
Should Leon get any credit for the discovery? In Egypt in the 1930s, Charlotte was assigned a digging site. Her colleague Leon was assigned a different digging site. Preferring the site Charlotte was given, Leon pulled some strings and got them to switch, leading to Charlotte discovering the ancient tomb of Pharaoh Hathakare. Later on, Leon asks Charlotte, should it technically be our tomb, since you only got the site thanks to me, and I did help discover the golden collar that we found there? Remorselessly, Charlotte says, we? I don't speak French.
That's gaslighting, though.
Which was funny, but at the same time, does he really, really not deserve any credit?
So I wanted to say, before you actually explained, I went to say no. But then when he said, I got you the site,
it's not wrong. It's not wrong.
Now he's talking facts.
Bro, he's
literally
facts.
talking
He said,
facts.
you only got it because of me.
That is facts.
Not only that, but he did some kind of, when there was like excavating. He did
but
something.
she'd already gotten something.
No, she'd already went in, and obviously she dug up the site or whatever. But that's why he said our tomb. He didn't say my tomb. He said our tomb. Did he not help?
Yeah.
She got the site because of him. I was like, bro, it was a bit because she went
Yeah. So what do you think then?
Shut him down. I definitely think he deserves credit.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, innit?
It doesn't matter.
You were the one that did it. So what if his name goes down there?
100%. It's an interesting ethical question because I feel like the way the author wrote
glory.
it. Yeah, they said both did.
On the site, getting glory.
You get pat on the back.
But I mean, in history books,
They said in the history books it will say Met Museum found tomb.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna say your name in the headlines or nothing.
Even if it did say your name,
they said you'll get a footnote. That's what they said. You'll both get a footnote.
Playing in the dirt, mate.
What I think is interesting
found some shit.
Legit. And who's paying for all of this?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Who's paying for all this? But yeah, what I think is interesting is the way the author wrote it. It's as if everyone was going to be on Charlotte's side. Oh, Leon shouldn't get nothing. As soon as I read that, I was like, yeah, what the hell? Why is he having to haggle for this?
I didn't think so. I was on Charlotte's side. When I read the book, I was like, come on. The reason why is the moral aspect. It's the aspect
because he switched to get something.
He switched because she was a woman. That's what they paid it out.
Yeah,
because she was a woman,
he switched.
He switched. That's what it is. So it was like, you got what you deserve. That's the way the author painted it. So that's why,
Yeah, I agree. The author did paint it like that, and I don't necessarily know if that's right for her to paint it like that.
Well, if that's what happened, remember, it's her world. It's her world. You can't argue with her.
In that situation, the way it went down.
Do you not agree that he deserved to miss out? Maybe not on the name or whatnot, but he got what he deserved. He wanted her side, and he missed out. So that's what he
missed out, but it's like, if he hadn't done that, she would have got nothing.
I understand.
Do you see what I'm saying? So in my opinion, she kind of owes him.
Well, put it this way. Let's say, right? All right, let's just say, someone tries to. All right, cool. Someone tries to rob you.
Yeah.
On the street. They give me a phone or something like that. And I don't know, you either give them your phone, you either run into the road or something, and you one reason or another, I don't know, find money on the floor or something like that. You can't then turn around, that person can't necessarily turn around and say that I want half of that.
I want half of that.
Yeah.
That's a totally different situation. I think you're right.
The point
you're right in
I'm
that
trying to make
situation.
is they didn't do something to you in good faith.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't, it's not down to them or whatever, but when someone's done something to you in bad faith, I think it's reasonable for you to turn around and say you got what you deserved.
It's reasonable, but in the situation that was in the book, who was that guy, Mr. Zimmerman or whatever? He went to Charlotte and was like, "Would you mind switching?" She could have said no. She decided not to say no because she wanted to make her boss happy. So she gained on that. She gained here, and she also gained here. Do you know what I mean? Because of Leon. And it's like, he said, I asked to switch. She could have said no. It's not like he robbed her. Do you know what I mean? He asked to switch. He didn't rob her. She gained nothing. She was going to get nothing. She got something.
No,
how's that robbery?
She felt pressured she did feel pressure.
She did feel pressure.
So
but
it wasn't that, remember,
listen, Leon didn't pressure her. He wasn't there. No, the boss asked.
No, Leon didn't pressure her.
He didn't pressure her.
He didn't switch because he wanted her to find it. He switched because he thought she had something good over there.
Listen, look, and then he did, and his attempt was to peel for something. His attempt was to get something.
This is what I'm saying. It was done in bad faith.
But what I'm saying is, would you rather, like, what if I said, for example, I wanted you to gain, but I didn't do anything about it, as opposed to, I didn't want you to gain, but you did because of something I did.
Well, that's an interesting...
Do you know what I mean? Would you rather I wanted you to gain, or would you rather I did something to help you gain, regardless of what I wanted?
Are you my brother or are you my co-worker?
Co-worker.
Well, if you're my co-worker, then I'd rather gain.
Yeah, of course.
But what I'm saying is there's also a value in somebody wanting you to...
Of course, there's a value in loads of things. There's a value in shit. That's a fertilizer,
Exactly.
It's still shit.
Yeah. Why did you say that? Look at me. There's a value in shit.
I thought it was an interesting question. I definitely thought he deserved credit because he did help. Like, what the hell? That's what credit's for.
I don't know if he deserved it, but I think he should get it.
That's the same thing.
No.
That's the same thing.
No, I don't think he deserves it, but I think it's understandable that his name should be there.
Yeah, of course. He deserves to have his name.
But it's like saying, oh, should Charlotte's mother get it? Get some credit because she pushed Charlotte out.
It's not like that
It
at all.
is.
It's
If not for her mother, she wouldn't have been there.
That's not the same thing.
I'm not saying it's
you
the same
understand
thing,
it's not.
But it's loosely related.
It's not related at all.
What you just said?
That's not related at all.
Listen, of course it's related.
It's not related at all.
It's definitely related.
It's
like saying the plane driver.
No archaeologist in the history of archaeology that has their mum.
Well, they always say thanks to their mum.
They say thanks to their mum. Yeah, that's cool. So she can say thanks to her mum, then, isn't it? That's the credit right there. She could say that.
Where do we draw the line?
We draw the line at who discovered the tomb.
So
that's where we draw the line.
Mr. Zimmerman said, well, I put you there, Charlotte, and he wouldn't have switched with you unless I put you there.
Yeah. He probably is going to get credit. He's the team leader or whatever, and in a museum that's paying for everything. Remember that guy
Pharaoh
said...
should get credit.
I mean, they're pharaohs. They died rich. It's the only credit they'll ever need.
Joseph.
All right.
Is it me or is it you?
I'll go again.
I think it's me.
I've got 3 left anyways.
I got 2 left.
Let me go then.
Let me go. Go on.
So Charlotte fell pregnant in Egypt. Called it. Which means Annie is the kid. Called it again. Please don't call me arrogant. I am Jose Mourinho. However, shagging her colleagues and getting impregnated is not what her parents set her out to do. She's supposed to be studying, working hard, soaking up some culture. Instead, she's out here getting her tomb raided. That is not what her parents set her out to do.
Not at all. It's what always happens. And it's funny because they said to her, oh, we don't want you to go out there because, you're going to this, that and the other.
And she said, I'm mature, I can do it. I'm mature. She was 18, got knocked up already.
I think it was a matter of months.
She's been on the job like 3 months.
It's biology. You cannot fight biology.
When it's hot out there.
Yeah, it was hot in the sheets, all right.
I'm dead.
Jesus Christ. It did not take her long. She couldn't even
take her long
wrap
at all.
up.
And then she was like to Henry, my parents said you can move in with us. Whole time she didn't even tell them about the baby or that she got married. And she was like, yeah, we'll just, pull up. Hey, my husband's here.
That is awkward,
Ridiculous.
Can I call you dad?
Insane.
Can you imagine?
Cheers for this one. Start rubbing her belly. Nah, it's over.
Yeah, that's mad.
I'm slide tackling him.
Yeah, no, that's mad. When you lock eyes with the father knows you've been inside.
She says, Daddy, pass the salt. And you both reach. No, it's going down tonight. You gonna learn today?
Outside now.
Bro,
Dive
outside.
over the table.
Exactly. He just flipped the table about outside. We ain't got time for all of that.
Oh, dead.
One thing that I really, really liked about this book was the vigilante crime group. I think it's such a good idea. I wrote, the author's just flexing on us now. The vigilante group targets stolen Egyptological artifacts because these artifacts belong to Egypt and they shouldn't be owned by other countries. Don't you just love morally grey? But yeah, I thought it was a great idea that simply came out of nowhere. I mean, you could literally have a spin-off series on that idea alone. You know, a group that, you know, goes around the world,
for real.
breaking into museums and whatnot. It's heists. Maybe we could just read a heist book next. Maybe we should. We haven't done a heist book.
We should watch bloody Tomb Raider. What the hell? It's like the plot of Tomb Raider.
Or I can't remember. What's that heist thing on Netflix that was going? You know, with the masks.
What, Squid Game?
No.
No, Money Heist. Sorry.
Money Heist.
I never watched even one of them.
It?
I will never watch even one of them
Why?
shows.
It's too many. What? It's just too
Just
big.
Huh?
Was it just too big? You
No, not
necessarily. Just want to be different, don't
Not
you?
necessarily.
Freak.
Not necessarily. I watch loads of things that are
Freaky.
quote unquote bait.
Wait.
But,
So you didn't watch Squid Game either?
I haven't watched Squid Game. I've watched Money Heist. I haven't watched Stranger Things. I haven't watched any of these shows. Right. So not because I want to avoid it because I'm different. Look at me. I actually hate people like that as well. But mainly just I ain't got time to be watching any new TV shows, investing time into new TV.
Right.
If I'm watching TV, it's to go to sleep.
Fair
So
enough.
I don't want to invest in anything new, you know what I mean?
I tried to make a prediction while reading this book.
And you
I said
failed.
I said so confidently. So I've worked out that Henry was one of the good guys. It's only chapter 20, and I've realised already that that's the plot twist. Henry must be running the vigilante group and is stealing artworks to return them to their rightful place in Egypt. I go on. I've worked this out because Henry's friend was linked to the vigilante group. Leon. Obviously, I was completely wrong. And for those of you who don't know, Henry is Charlotte's husband from 40 years ago. That got separated. They got separated on an accident. At an accident on a ship. Henry had their 3-month-old daughter at the time, and the ship started taking on water. They got separated and never saw each other again. But skipping over the fact that I was wrong, the boat scene was well written. I was literally on the edge of my seat. With that scene, and that's what I mean when I said just that scene's carrying the first half of the book, you know, because we got that flashback quite early with them being separated and the screen goes black, Charlotte got left on the boat and whatnot. But yes, I've got one more point.
I've got 2 more. Okay, I might have jumped the gun. Rather than return to New York, Charlotte and Henry decided to stay in Egypt so that Henry could continue his career. Months later, Charlotte gives birth to a baby girl called Layla, not Annie. So my prediction was also massively incorrect and a couple of points ago.
It would be ridiculous if that was the case.
But that's why I was so convinced, because I was like, they're gonna the money shot.
They're gonna,
They're gonna press the money shot button.
But
I'm impressed that they didn't do that, to be fair. I don't know if impressed is the right word.
Relieved.
Relieved is the right word. I'm not disappointed.
Because you would have to fling the book.
100%. I'd have to burn it.
Oh, God.
But I was like, I was still hanging on. I was like, could be a fake name though. Which, again, right stadium, wrong sport, to be honest. Because
it didn't need to be, end with everyone being happy, basically.
sometimes you need to do a Macbeth and kill everybody at the end.
Sometimes. And you don't have to kill everybody.
Kill some people.
Yeah.
Two deaths.
Always kill some people.
1 or 2 deaths.
This book has been cheapened. We could have got straight into it. Charlotte, for whatever reason, could have had to retrace her steps back to Egypt, where we could have uncovered what had happened to her without flashbacks. The vigilante gang could have done the old switcheroo with the Cerulean Queen artifact, stole it and replaced the fake. Charlotte's boss could have been in on it. I mean, he was very suspicious anyway. Do you remember when she told him about some works that she had, this was it Havatari's tomb or this, that and the other.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, yeah.
Oh, right,
because he was an expert in the matter or whatnot.
He was interested in like the collar, but he wasn't interested in her theories.
He uncovered he was known for that.
Yeah.
So he basically had a theory that was kind of like the known theory, the accepted theory, and hers new work was supposed to...
Man went to delete her shit.
Yeah, basically. Charlotte could have been forced to go rogue and track down the thieves herself, because let's just say she said, that artifact's fake. He could have said, no, it's not. Leave us alone, shut up, go away. If once they'd done the switcheroo, and then that would mean that she would have to go rogue or whatever. Instead, we spend half of the book gearing up for the fashion show. Yes, I'm going on about the Met Gala again.
Yeah.
I also do have a problem with the fact that Charlotte, after 40 years, decides to try and track down her lost child. No mother waits 40 days, much less 40 years.
Yeah, 4 years is a long.
I know the author tried to make reasons for this, but it simply wasn't enough. You know, oh, I didn't know if they were still alive. No, you find your people them
Bro, they're
straight away.
grown now, man. They're
40,
gone.
Joseph,
Their
her
whole
daughter's
life's
40
gone.
years old. Are you crazy? Yeah. If my parent came back to me after 40 years trying to find me, I'm like, fuck off.
Do you know what I mean?
Like 40 years.
I hated my father.
It was revealed at the end that Henry did try to make contact with Charlotte, but Charlotte's parents intercepted the letter and basically allowed Henry to think that Charlotte was dead. Told him to fuck off and never contact him again. My question is what Charlotte's parents did unforgivable? Let me ask you again.
Yeah.
Is it unforgivable?
I really don't know, mate. That's a big word to use, you know. Unforgivable. Is there... Nah, that's dumb. I was going to say, is there anything family could do that's unforgivable? Yeah, actually. But, yeah.
If it's not unforgivable, it's pretty fucking close.
It's on the line, mate, because that's crazy what they did.
You missed out on your kid's life for 40 years.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, nah. I don't know. I don't know if I'd forgive them. I don't know.
But wait, did they even do it from a good place? Not really.
It was bad faith.
They didn't even really do it
because I was pissed off.
They didn't do it for a good reason.
They
as
literally
well.
did because I was pissed off. Because their child was 18. This fucking broke loser knocked her
Yeah,
up.
but they did.
Get out.
No, yeah, they did. Well, who knows what would have happened?
It was that pass the salt moment.
To
He was
be
like, yeah,
fair-
get out.
To be fair, what relationships last 40 years? None. So they probably saved her from a train wreck.
You can't use that as an excuse.
And who knows what the ripple effects would have been if they did. The child might not have made it, you know, something might have happened.
You can't use that as an excuse.
No,
You can't. You're done. If you try that as well, that's actually worse than if you had just said, yeah, we did something wrong. So is there a curse or isn't there? Charlotte has returned to New York, mad with grief over her husband and baby lost to the Nile. Soon after, she meets Everett. Before long, they're engaged to marry. One day before her trip back to Egypt, her mother dies, and her last words are, "I'm sorry, he was looking for you."
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's like, that's how you, on your way out.
Yeah, I don't know why they put that in there. I think they should have left that out because I knew straight away what that was.
Yeah,
And
of course. Of course.
It ruined it.
It ruined the
We could have
reveal,
had the
100%.
mic drop at the end.
100 could have had this guy just pull up. Does this mean Henry is in fact alive and looking for Charlotte? More importantly, is there a bloody curse or not? I don't want this to end up like the end of The Husbands, where it's left up to our imagination.
But I just want to clarify. That's
Yeah.
not what I mean. I mean, I wish they never had that scene. So she finds Henry alive, and then when they have the conversation, why didn't you? He could say, "I wrote to you, your parents," and she'd be like, "What?
Yeah, no,
my
that'd
parents
been
did
crazy.
that." Like that's when
crazy.
it would have been like raw, you know.
But I guess they didn't want to make it seem like her parents were totally soulless, because imagine if you're on your deathbed, you've been holding on to that secret, and you die with that. That's crazy. You're soulless.
So what you're trying to say is you're trying to say redemption. It was a shot at redemption.
It was a shot at redemption.
So
I'm giving the credit all for credit.
Who's reading into things
Yeah,
too
I'm
much
giving it all
now,
for credit.
eh?
No, I'm saying I wouldn't have wanted to see that. Come on, you're soulless. If you die, take that to your
Joseph,
grave.
I'm taking my wrongs to the grave. Taking my wrongs.
Man said my sins will die
I'm
with
taking
me.
my wrongs to the. I'm not admitting nothing. I'm not apologizing for nothing.
Jesus.
Redemption, redemption.
Man said redemption. Who needs it? You know, that is crazy. But some things, you know, Batman can't get that info out of me. That's done. It's locked up. Like,
The only way it's coming out is torture. That's it. You know.
Boy.
And even then.
you can't trust anything I say when I'm under the knife.
Exactly.
I'll say anything. I'll say
What they
anything.
call it? Admissible.
Yeah, it's inadmissible, bro. I'll say anything. I'll literally
Sing like
say,
a
I'll
canary.
tell you 2 + 2 is 6. Doesn't matter.
Is that you done?
That's me done.
That's me done.
Don't tell off. He's gonna say one more. I was about to slap you.
So yeah. What would you rate the book?
Out of 5. Can't really give it more than a 2. You can't give it more than a 2, in my opinion. You can't give it more than a 2. Look at the things we marked down for. It's an Egyptology book with no Egyptology in there.
Yeah, but it doesn't
You know,
matter, even if there was.
The ending. The ending was like,
I think the only thing that matters in a book is enjoyment.
how much did you enjoy it out of 5 stars?
At least a 3.
enjoyment, entertainment.
What would you say is the difference between the 2 and the 3? Because you looked at me, 2. It's at least a 3. I'm like, okay.
At least a 2.5.
At
least a 2.5. How dare you?
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there must be a significant difference between 2 and 3 for you
listen,
to look
you
at me
ask
like
your
that.
girl, what is she out of 10? And you say 9. A 9? How dare you?
Wait,
Wait, a doghouse. She'd be like, I should be a 10.
No, I think a lot of girls will be happy with a 9. What are you talking about? 9's a good score, you know. A 9's a good score.
So he's
Like
a 10
they'll
then.
say, no, they'll say,
You're a 9, but your sister's a 10. I bet you.
oh, dead. Yeah, no, of
Your
course
mum's
not.
a dilemma.
Of course not. Of course not.
Oh,
Of course
gosh.
not. Yeah, now you worship chaos if you do that. You actually worship chaos. What's that game you told me about?
You're
What's that
a 9, but my ex is a 10.
I'm screaming.
No.
What's that game you told me about? What's that game where it was like you call her the wrong name and hold on?
Oh, it's called a rodeo position. It's a sex position. In doggy, you call her the wrong name and hold on to her hand.
Nah, that's insane.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, you worship chaos if you do that.
Look, there's a place in the world for chaos.
Of
Not
course.
in my bedroom. No.
Definitely not. Don't play with me. But you know what's interesting is remember
Get
that
you
thing
back
that we
real
saw?
easy with a finger,
Of course. Get me back, you say. Can't threaten me. She can't threaten me with a good time. Listen, fellas, we've all done it, right? Fellas, let's be honest now. It's a safe space.
No, I think
it's a safe space.
On that note, I think we listen, but we don't judge. On that note, I think it's time to end. Oh gosh, my finger's waiting for me. But yeah, till next
Try
time.
for 2 tonight.
Till next time.
Till next time.